You can save a lot of time when you need to draw symmetrical shapes by drawing only one half and then reflect it onto the other side. For this technique, it doesn't matter which tool you use, but I'm going to work with the pen tool, and you can practice with all these shapes that I prepared in this file. So all you need to do is to start drawing either the left or the right side. It's up to you. And notice that I also prepared the part from the shape in the background, a guide in the middle. That is going to be the center of symmetry. So it will definitely come in handy later. But for now, I'm going to start drawing. And what I normally do is for the center line, I draw actually the line itself that goes up. Holding down Shift key, you can make sure that it's going to be perfectly straight. And I'm just going to remove the fill color. We don't need fill for this shape in the beginning while I'm drawing. I'm going to increase the size of the stroke a bit so we can just see it better. Now I can draw the heart shape. Once again, there's many different ways I could do this. I could even do this almost with just one line. If I hold down Alt, click and drag this point out here, then I can go all the way down to the bottom and drag it out like that. And then I can just hold down Alt again and change the shape slightly at the bottom. Now, this would create a nice curve, but it doesn't have that subtle change there at the bottom. Just to show you a combination of tools, I'm going to just click on this point here to add an additional anchor point. And then I can switch to the reshape tool, if you remember. And with that, I can just drag this point in and the other side slightly back. So immediately I managed to add that additional curve at the bottom. But now that we have half of the shape, I can even select it and press Shift X to swap the colors. And let's just set it to something different than the background. I'm going to choose blue, which stands out. Now comes the part which is the most important from this video, how to reflect this. Well, for that we use the reflect tool. The shortcut is O. It's easy to remember because it's a symmetrical letter. I think that's why they used it. So once you select this tool, then you can click either on the guide in the middle or on that point that is supposed to be on the symmetry line. So it's up to you which one you prefer. I'm going to click on that anchor point and then click and drag the whole shape and hold down Option Shift or Alt Shift on PC. So it's going to create a duplicate while reflecting the selected shape. Now don't forget that these are still two separate shapes, so you need to join them together. Once again, you have two options. You select both of them and use the shape builder tool and just paint across the two shapes to make it into one combined shape. Or you can also go into the Pathfinder and choose Unite. So that's how you draw symmetrical shapes using the reflect tool. As I said, you can practice the same technique on these other shapes here, but let me show you another way of doing the same thing. So you might be thinking it would be great to be able to see what you are drawing on both sides. So get like a live view of the symmetry that you are creating. And of course, there's a way to do that as well. It takes a little bit longer to set up this, but it's still not that difficult. What I normally do is to use the line segment tool, and I draw a line in the middle. So it doesn't have to go all the way, but normally that's what I do, just to create that line in the middle. And I normally don't have any color assigned to it. It's just a blank line. But for now, just so you can see, I'm going to turn it on, and I even give it a like stronger color so we can see it. So that line is important. You can use even a guide for it, but normally I have a line there, which I later on can just hide. And once you have this shape, just select it and press Command or Control G to group it. Then what you need to do is to select the line, which is now a group, and we are going to apply an effect on the group itself. It's important that you don't apply the effect on the line. Only once it's in a group, that's when you apply the effect on the group itself. So we go into the effect menu, and under Distort and Transform, we find the Transform feature. So let's select that. And it's quite a big dialog box, but it's not that confusing. I mean, quite simple how to set it up. All you need to do is to set up copies to be 1, turn on the reflect to be X, and then depending on whether you want to draw on the right side or on the left side, choose the opposite reference point here at the bottom. So if you want to draw on the right side, choose the left. If you want to draw on the left side, choose the right. And that's all you need to do. So now I can click on OK, and I'm going to draw on the left side. But before I start, I have to also remember to double click on the line, which is our group, and get into isolation mode, which basically means that you are going to draw within the group. So everything you create will be automatically be inside this group. And this is the point where I normally turn off my center line because I don't need to see it anymore. Now, just to see how it works, I'm going to select the pencil tool and I just draw something here. But you see immediately on the other side it's going to appear. How cool is that? You can immediately see what you are doing, and you can use all the tools and shortcuts that we learned about, but use them immediately in symmetry. Now at this point, usually what I do is to select that line that we created in the middle, and I set it up the way I would like to draw. So I set it up to be red, and 1 point will be fine for now. And I'm going to just drag the top end down until it meets my actual drawing, just like that. And then of course I'm going to delete all this from here on the side, and then I will actually continue drawing from that center line. So I click on the top end of it, and then I can start drawing this shape. Now I would be able to go all the way there, but I'm just going to do it quickly and draw this point. There's another one. Alt click, draw another curve, and notice how it's being drawn at the same time on the other side. So I'm just going to hold down Shift key here and Shift again. So there's my closed shape. Now that we are ready with this, we can even press Shift X, so to swap the stroke to become the fill. Then double click outside, and notice that this other half we can't select yet because it's only an illusion. It's created by the effect that we have on the left side. You can see in the appearance panel that we have the transform effect, and that is what's producing that other half. Now it's perfectly fine to keep it like this. As you can see, I can move it apart and it looks great. And the good thing about keeping it like this is that if you want to make any amends, so let's just say select a point and move it a bit further up, then automatically the other side will update. So let's do a little bit more drastic change. I'm going to select the twirl tool and make this brush bigger and add a twirl on one side, and you see immediately the other side appears. So as long as you keep the transform effect live, it's going to automatically update on both sides, which is great. But if you want to merge the two sides together and make sure it's not working in symmetry anymore, then what you should do is to go up to the object menu and choose Expand Appearance, which is going to basically flatten the effect. And you can already see in the layers panel now we have two actual physical sides. And having them selected, just use the shape builder, paint over it, and then again you have the same result as we did with using the reflect tool before. So these are the two different techniques that I normally use when I do symmetrical drawing. It's good to practice both of them because each of them has their advantages. I would say the reflect tool is much faster and easier to set up. So for simple shapes, that's great. But when you want to see live what's happening on both sides while you are drawing in symmetry, then setting up this effect that I showed you on a group can be a more effective technique. Now that we've seen how the basic symmetry works in Illustrator, it's time to look at concentric or radial symmetry in the next video.